Hi everyone, my name is REDRUP. You're listening to the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by frontman Daniel and drummer Hanni of Tenside. We discuss their new album, Come Alive Dying, recording the album in America, how struggles over the past few years have influenced its message and direction, working with John Henry of Darkest Hour, being eager to return to the UK, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some other perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by Daniel and Hanni from Tenside. How are you both doing?
What's up everyone?
Hey there, we're doing great, I guess.
Yeah, you were just saying before, like you're just so busy with obviously this new album coming out, which is obviously exciting, but also a lot of work.
That's right. Yeah, we're super happy to finally release a new record. But on the other side, it's always work to do. But yeah, we're happy to kick out a new record for sure.
Yeah. Like you just got to think about what the end result. Once the album's out, then you're gonna get all these obviously fans listening to the album and all the shows obviously that come with that. So yeah, you just got to think of the end goal, I guess.
Hell yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So this is album number 8, Come Alive Dying, which comes out on January 19th. How are you feeling about putting this album out there?
Pretty good, actually. It's been a while. The last record came out almost 4 years ago, so it was time for a new record. We're excited because every time you drop a new record, you want to hear what fans think about it. And since there are a lot of new influences on the record, as well as some development on influences we already had on the previous records, we're pretty excited to hear what people think about it because we love that new record. I think it's progressive-wise the best album that we ever written, and hopefully people who listen to it will like it the same way that we do.
And on top of it, I mean, it's always great to just start a new era with the band going in a new album cycle. It's pretty exciting. So we plan a lot for this whole release. A lot of things, hopefully tour-wise, coming up really soon. And yeah, it's just excited to start the whole thing, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Has this album been in the works for a little while then? Because I think wasn't Dust of the Bereaved that came out in 2021, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, our previous record, Glamour and Gloom, came out in the first lockdown week of COVID.
Worst timing.
Worst timing ever. Back in 2020. I mean, we finished the tour with Killswitch Engage shortly before through the UK and whole Europe. And we were really excited to start the album cycle with Glamour and Gloom. And then, yeah, COVID came and destroyed almost everything for each and every one of us, you know. So, that was quite a tough time. So that's why we're really excited now to drop a new record and start it all over again. And of course, it took some time and we released like 2 singles digitally, like Dust of the Bereaved, you already said. But we put it on the record, on the physical version as well, since we never released it in any physical way. And yeah, I mean, nowadays, you know, it's like so much digital stuff going on. You have to release all those singles all the time. And but in the metal world, I mean, it's still great to see that people still like vinyl, still like physical products. So yeah, that's the thing. We put a lot of effort into the whole physical products for the record, and hopefully people will like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, you mentioned obviously COVID coming about at the worst time with that last album, Glamour and Gloom. Do you feel like it impacted that album negatively in any way? Because obviously you couldn't go out and tour it the way that you would want to. But I mean, saying that, I think, isn't it your most successful album commercially so far, which is...
It is. Actually, Glamour and Gloom is our most successful album so far. And as dumb as it sounds, I mean, it was like a a huge problem that we couldn't go on tour like anyone else, you know. I mean, on the touring side, it really sucked. We played so many great shows and tours before that record came out, and we were pumped and had so many festivals booked and so many great touring opportunities, and then everything got down. And yeah, we focused on the digital side during the release, and yeah, and we saw this coming, so we had the chance to play a couple of shows for Glamour and Gloom at least. I mean, after COVID was almost done, when everyone got back to work, you know.
Yeah.
But touring wise, yeah, it was not that much. That's why we're really pumped for the new record, and we put a lot of effort into it. So yeah.
Well, I guess in hindsight, because you were like one of the last bands to kind of release an album before COVID kicked in, and you know, so many bands kind of held on to these records they had because they didn't know when things were going to pick up again. I guess
exactly.
In hindsight, that worked in your benefit because everyone's like trying to get some new music to listen to. You've got new music out, so they're just checking you out. Like, I'm sure you got loads of new fans off the back of that record.
But that definitely helped. Absolutely. As Daniel said, since we were on tour with Killswitch just before the record released in March, that helped a lot. The only real bummer for me was like we've had a Headline UK run booked already for the Glamour and Gloom record. And people in the UK really liked our stuff while opening up for Killswitch during the whole tour. And we were so looking forward to finally come over to the UK on our own, being a real headliner, and having to leave that behind for like the whole COVID time and the time until now. I mean, we haven't been back to the UK since COVID came. We're really looking forward to make it happen this year because a lot of people are constantly asking under every post with the new record when we're finally coming over to the UK again. And that's what we're looking forward to next year, definitely.
Well, that's good that, you know, these fans have stuck around and been so eagerly waiting for you guys for, you know, like 3-4 years now since all
that's
that.
Great to see. That's awesome. Like nowadays it's so hard to find people that really dig your stuff and stick to it, even if you're not constantly putting out new singles. And we are very grateful that a lot of people in the UK especially are sticking around, are patiently waiting for us to come back. So that's really great. That helped a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, going to the new album again, you know, it's called Come Alive Dying. Why did you go with that as the title? Why do you think that kind of encompasses the record?
I would say because of COVID, and not only because of COVID is the right answer. I mean, everything changed now, you know, and we leave this old world behind and starting a new chapter. And I also had some personally losses in my family during COVID, and we all went through a really dark time. And actually, dying was like a real thing, you know. A lot of people died, and a lot of things died, and now we are in a constantly change all over the world, and this is hopefully the right direction because change is another big thing when it comes to lyrics and stuff on the record, and that's why we chose this title, man. It came in quite spontaneous, and yeah, I liked it from the beginning. When I had this wording, I wasn't sure if it's all right to say like "Come Alive Dying." Is this all right to say? Can we say it like this? So is everyone getting the meaning behind it? But after a couple of days, it was crystal clear that this is the title I was looking for, and I'm stick to it. I mean, I like it. It's exactly the title this record needed.
Yeah. Is that kind of a title that you were working with for a while then? Because I know, you know, a lot of bands will come with the title. Some of them come with it like before the record even begins, so they've kind of got like a vision of the record. And sometimes bands will do it at the end when they've got this whole album together and like, what describes this album? How do you go about that?
Actually, yeah. I mean, that's a big point because an album still got a whole concept when it comes to the colors, the meaning, like all the visuals and so on. And yeah, we like to have it all in one line this for the whole process, and that's why it was really good because I had the title like really early when Like, I mean, all the songs were done, but lyrically, I was still working on it, like halfway through, I guess. And then it was clear with this title in which direction we are going and what this is all about. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, did the success of Glamour and Gloom, because like I say, it is your most successful album to date, did that put any kind of pressure on this next record in terms of, we've got to kind of one up that album now?
Definitely, it made some pressure of some sort, but in the end, it's always us trying to deliver the best material possible. So once you get over the thought of, oh God, the next record must be an even more, must sell even more units, then you come back to what's important, and that's definitely great songs. And I don't want to say that it's easy for us to write great songs, but since we're so into the music that we're writing, there's no place for other thoughts than what's important at the moment. So if we're sitting together and discussing about parts in special songs, or how to get to the chorus, or how to get from the chorus back into a verse, nobody thinks, oh, we have to do it that way because that might sell some more units. It's always what serves the song, what helps the vocals, what fits best for certain drum parts. And somehow we always manage to one-up it at some point.
Well, I guess, another kind of advantage that kind of COVID had with that last album is you could see which songs fans were reacting to online the most, and then maybe that kind of directly or indirectly influenced you in saying, hey, let's kind of do something a bit more like this, but obviously not doing the exact same song, but this part of the song works really well. Let's try and see what we can do to kind of evolve from that point.
Yeah, that's basically what we did. I mean, we had a lot of clean vocals on Glamour and Gloom already, and that was the main focus with most of the songs, that we try to make those parts even more special, more thought out. We've totally focused on lyrics. Daniel did a great job writing his lyrics, figuring out the vocal lines and stuff. And I think that's one of the things you definitely hear on the new record, how good all the choruses are. Like you need to listen to them just once, and it's going to stick in your head for the whole day. And I think if you can achieve that with all of the tracks on a record, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, that's a sign of a good chorus, isn't it?
Definitely.
And on top of that, I mean, when you make an album as a band, it's always also a challenge. You challenge yourself to do the best songs ever. And we never do the same record twice. It must be a challenge also as a musician to grow and write new stuff and try new things and see what comes out, and yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, because I think a lot of fans not always think of the fact that, I mean, it could be just so easy for you to write the same song over and over again, but you also want to be interested in this song because you're going to potentially be playing it for years to come. And if you hate the song, then that's no fun for you.
Definitely. And you have to imagine putting together a set list for a live show. If you're writing the same song over and over again, the latest point where you recognize you did something wrong is the set list. When you recognize, oh, I don't know if we can play these 3 songs right next to each other because they're sounding the same. And that's one good thing, that we don't have to worry about these kind of problems because there's enough material during the last years that is way different from another. That putting a set list together is quite easy. There's like 1 or 2 songs we wouldn't play right next to each other, but most of the times it's like just blindly picking out songs that we want to play because we know they work.
And it keeps things fresh for you because, like I've just said, if you want to play these songs for potentially years to come, you want to be able to have this kind of variety, like maybe 3 or 4 years down the line when you've got like another album, you can take some songs that are already in the set list from this album, like, oh, we've played these quite a bit, I'm kind of bored of them, let's try and switch things around a bit. You've got that option to do that, whereas some bands who kind of stick to the same formula don't have that luxury.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, you went to, was it Joseph McQueen who he mixed the album, and then it's Ted Jensen who mastered the album? Is that right?
That is right, yeah.
What did they kind of bring into the kind of, what did they inject into the formula of this record? What did they kind of bring into this album that maybe might not have been there if they weren't working on it?
I would say sound-wise, they bring the record to life, you know. It's our best sounding record to date. And yeah, we always wanted to mix and master a record in the US, simply because they have mostly the best people for the best sounding stuff, you know. And yeah, we got introduced to each other, and we gave it a try, and it sounded brilliant right from the beginning. And that was just a great way to work, and the record is sounding huge. I mean, it's for a metal record, it's still modern, but everything is real. We recorded everything in a real way. There's nothing programmed or something. So we, as musicians, we really focus on recording everything. And it was just great to get the opportunity to work with these people. And yeah, when it comes to Ted Jensen, I mean, he's quite a legend, you know, and it's a big pleasure for us as a young, or still a young little band, to have someone like him on board mastering our record. And yeah, I mean, it sounds brilliant. We're all stoked about the sound and just super thankful to have this team on board. Yeah.
Was that your first time going over to the US to create an album then?
Yeah, that's the first time. So, I mean, I'm me personally, I'm going a lot to the US since I'm like 16, 17 years old. And I've built a lot of friendships. And I mean, we went on tour with a lot of US bands over the last couple of years. And I mean, that was a naturally process to do it. And it was a long time wish of mine to do it with a setup like this for a record. And finally we got the chance. And yeah, as I said, we're just stoked about how it sounds.
There's a single on the album called Impending Doom, and you've got John Henry from Darkest Hour on there. How did his involvement in the project come around? How did that happen?
That's a pretty funny story. I mean, we could just say that he wanted to be on it, or we paid for the feature. But there's a pretty funny story behind it. John Henry actually moved to Germany, to Munich, where we live, because of his girlfriend. And some friends of us told us that he was looking for a rehearsal room where he could practice Darkest Hour songs and his solo stuff. And then we just sat down and talked, and we're like, hey, you can go into our rehearsal room if you want to. There's enough space for your stuff. And over that connection, we became friends, and it was just natural to ask him if he wanted to be on that record, because he's like our next door neighbor, kind of.
Yeah.
And we're all pretty big Darkest Hour fans, so that came in handy as well. We loved the idea of having him on the record. And yeah, he was stoked. He wanted to do it right away, and that's how the story goes. The rest is history to come from January on.
Why was that specific song that he worked on? Is there a reason behind that, or?
He actually could. He had the opportunity to pick whatever song he liked,
Right.
because we wanted him to feel comfortable with the feature. Because I think if a shouter or a singer doesn't like a song and you try to force him to feature, it won't sound that great. And we hoped for him to pick Impending Doom, and he did. So it all went out just perfectly.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that song's about kind of the gradual self-destruction of the world by the human race itself, kind of destroying itself. What else has kind of helped to sculpt the album in terms of like a lyrical standpoint? What kind of messages are you conveying throughout the record?
I would say that since we started this all in a really dark time, it's a 50-50 kind of thing, that you still have a lot of dark lyrics and dark meanings and social problems and so on, where you write about, you know. And then on the other side, we're totally on the path of change, and that you come out of the dark time into a great new beginning after all these things like COVID, all the war, all the misery, all this bad stuff. And yeah, this is basically the direction where we went through lyrically to create those songs and those lyrics. And yeah.
Are there any like songs that are kind of specifically kind of hard to were kind of hard to write about? Because I know you mentioned earlier that, there's been hard times for you personally, I guess, over the past few years with everything that's gone on.
Oh yeah, exactly. I would say so. The song for this is definitely Shadow to Shine, when it comes to this meaning, and it was the first single of the record as well. And me personally, I also went through a lot of change during COVID. So, and yeah, I had to transportate this message and my feelings into this song. And yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah. Well, as we were saying before, this is album number 8 for you guys, which is, a lot of bands out there can barely get to the point where they make their first album before they, kind of part ways. And I think Tenside, you've been a band for like over 15 years now, which is an incredible achievement. So congratulations on that. And we know that the music industry is very, demanding and can be very ruthless sometimes. What's kind of helped you to push through the difficulties of being a band now throughout all of those years and get to the point of album number 8 too?
First of all, I must say, I mean, I'm doing this band like since I'm a really young dude. That's why. So I always stick to the band, That's why we have so many albums. I mean, we had lots of lineup changes over the last couple of years for sure. And I would say that the first 4 records are more or less like things you do when you're young and dumb, and yeah, you put them out and trying to find your way. But like seriously, I would say that the last 4 albums are like real albums,
Right.
And I will give it over to Hanni soon. But the thing is, like, as a band, I would say, first of all, it's the love of music while we're doing it. Simply because we just love to hang around together. We love to create music. We love to write songs. We love to go on tour. And this is what keeps us going, So, and I think it's just great in this fast moving times, that some bands just do a lot of work and put a lot of stuff out, because why the fuck not? Like, of course you have people like trying to tell you like another album, really another one, like, but why the fuck not? We just like to create music. So what the fuck? We just live in it, man.
Yeah, that's basically it. Daniel mentioned the lineup changes. The funny thing is, I feel like Tenside has never had a better lineup until now, and there was like no need to get to know each other because we're friends outside of the band for way longer than we actually play together.
Right.
So I think it all came along pretty nicely. It was like necessary changes, and whenever some person was needed within Tenside, one of the other guys had nothing to do. Like, I quit my band, I think, a half year before Daniel came to me and asked if I wanted to try and play drums in Tenside.
Right.
So I was basically free, and it felt just fine to start another project or get involved into another project with people I already know for years. Same with our bassist, and I think it was the same with Michael. Michael, our guitarist, joined way earlier than I did, and since I think we're together for 4 years with the current lineup now, right. And it just feels great, and that helps a lot. Even if you have like bad times, if there's no shows ahead, if something with the writing process goes wrong, or if all the bad stuff that gets thrown at you as a band is easier to take if you're friends and if you're really looking forward to meet up to do social media content. I mean, we all wouldn't do any TikTok dances, that's for sure. But if at some point in the future that's a must, I gladly join in the dance if my 3 homies are in the video as well. So let's see what the future holds for us.
I'm going to look out for that dance. Let's come out with a new album, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we prepared a dance challenge for the TikTok community already.
I think that's just so important, isn't it? Like, you can have like the best musicians in the world in your band, but if you don't get on with them, then why would you want to be in a band with them?
I mean, if you're getting big stacks out of it, then you maybe just do it like for money wise, just as a job. But unless you don't earn like big amounts of cash, it's all about the passion and being friends. I mean, sometimes you are like cramped in a van for like 8 hours straight. That's not the greatest experience. I mean, there's no romantic thoughts about being in a small bus cramped in. But I think as long as you're friends, you try to endure all this stuff because you believe in like greater things, and you think one more drive, one more album, one more show, one more single release. And we really try to push forward to make it as friends in the industry and see how far we can take the project.
Yeah, it just makes the whole thing more enjoyable and just easier. So
yeah,
and that's what makes you last longer, I guess, because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, if you have a closer look on a lot of metal bands or acts, you will find out like really quick that a lot of bands are around for like several years. And I mean, this shit just takes forever, you know. I mean, this is it. And yeah, what shall I say? It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, I guess.
There's also that saying, nothing worth having comes easy. So just think of that as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you've got this new album dropping on January 19th. And then you've got a few kind of album release shows around that time as well in Germany. What else is planned for Tenside so far in 2024 that you can talk about?
We will announce a couple of more tours and festivals for sure. We've started to announce already a couple of festivals beside of this free date release run for the record. We will be back in the UK in 2024, that's for sure. And we will announce a lot of live things over the next couple of weeks and months via our social medias. And yeah, we prepared a lot of things, like a lot of merch, a lot of more videos and content, and we're really putting a lot of effort into it to just give the people nice things. And yeah, that's the plan.
Trying to make people's lives more enjoyable.
That's the main goal, man. Well, thanks very much, guys. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the album launch. I'm sure it's going to go down really well. It's like you said before, it sounds huge. So congrats on that. And yeah, hopefully I'll catch you when you guys are in the UK. Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day and get back to your work, any final words, anything you want to say, anything you want to plug? The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for listening, everyone. We're stoked to be back in the UK in 2024. And feel free to check out our brand new album, Come Alive Dying. See you hopefully really soon.
That's basically it. Thank you for having us. Really looking forward what's in store for us during the next year. And I hope everyone had a great start into the new year's. And I'm looking forward to meet each and every one that is coming over to our shows.
Awesome. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. And hopefully see you soon.
Take care, man. Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys. Bye.
Bye.
And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.